From Chicago streets to the courts beat, Sal Scott Dan on the podcast seat. Bulls breaking news, talking stats and views. Every player, every play, we never lose. Horns over hoops, we're the Bulls troop. From game analysis to fan scoop.
Ooh, what's good, Bulls fans and Horniacs, and welcome back to another edition to the Horns Over Hoops podcast. We are your hosts, Sal Bass and Daniel Benjamin Gracely. Welcome to the show.
That is not my middle name.
It sounded good, so I went with it. Yeah, we are your hosts for the evening. Scott Berman has the episode off. Scott is actually in Scotland. He's actually in his own land. He's in Scotland. So he's not going to be here. He may or may not be here. I sent him the link. If he wants to join, he can join. If not, yeah, that's all right.
He's searching for the Loch Ness monster as we speak,
which is actually just Enos Cantor hiding in the lake from the
Iranian government.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For whatever who's looking for him. So we got a good show for you guys tonight. Busy show going on today. We have some free agent news, some trade news. We have some draft news. We have Bulls movement. We have some DeMar news. We have our Ask-A-Horniac section, and me and Dan are going to speculate as to what the Bulls starting lineup is going to look like next season. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. But actually, before we get started, Dan, I got a confession to make, and I messed up big. So while the Bulls are making all these movements, I know probably the next person to fall based on this simple stat. Okay. So this year, it's very well known. I have a jersey curse, right? Very well known. So I haven't been entirely truthful with you guys. So this year,
who's dying? Who's dying next season?
Well, I may get a round of applause for this one. So for a birthday and a Christmas present this year, I gave my son and my fiance an Alex Caruso jersey. He's gone.
Yeah.
I gave my kid a DeMar DeRozan jersey. He's gone.
Writing's on the wall.
Well, writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
They gave me a DeMar DeRozan jersey for Christmas, and as we just said, he might be gone.
Hmm.
The last jersey that we have hanging in our closet is a Nikola Vucevic jersey.
I really don't think the Bulls are going to trade him. I'm hoping that they do eventually, but I'm thinking that it's going to be because he just signed he has 2-3 years left on his deal.
Yeah, he's still under contract.
So I think they're going to wait until his last year. Plus, who else are you going to get right now? I know that the Bulls are going through a youth movement, but Vooch is probably the best center that you can possibly have right now in the East, outside of the big names, obviously.
Right. Well, what I wanted to, and this was when I realized this was still when we were in contention to give Debo to the Heat. I wanted to see what's his name, Caleb Martin and Kel Ware for Debo and Vooch, maybe some picks in there. And I'm like, oh man, he's going. I would be down for that trade in a heartbeat.
I mean, I'm glad that he's not going to Miami or the Lakers, because I mean, I asked you and Scott earlier this week, how mad would you guys be if Debo went to the Lakers and they went to the finals? And I would be pissed because I don't want to see LeBron win another ring, but I definitely want to see DeMar win a ring.
Yeah. Especially given the circumstance that we're going to cover later about LeBron for that matter. So, but anyway, speaking of free agency, we'll see what Debo does for free agency. But speaking of which, Dan, we've had a busy free agency this offseason. Kicked off with DeJounte going to the Pelicans for Larry Nance, Mikal Bridges for the New York Knicks for Bojan and 5 first-round picks. Clay in a sign and trade to Dallas. Our beloved Derrick Jones Jr. signed with the Clippers. Tobias Harris, the unsung hero, going to the Pistons. Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson going to the Golden State Warriors. Chris
It's a
Paul
good
to the
move.
San Antonio Spurs. Nicholas Batum going back to the Clippers. And those are just a few to name the most of them. Dan, which signing or trade out of all the ones I just listed did you find to be the most necessary and most relevant to their team?
Probably Buddy Hield going to the Warriors just because they need something to. Oh, you didn't say this one. Clay Thompson going to the Dallas Mavs.
I did say that, did I?
Maybe you did, and I just didn't hear it. But yeah, no, I like the move of Buddy Hield going over to Dub Nation just because they need something to the Band-Aid over what Clay left behind.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great pickup. Yeah, I think Buddy's gonna excel in Golden State. And I'm not too mad at the Chris Paul move. Like, I don't like Chris Paul at all, like as a person, as a player, or anything like that. I hate the man. But I thought when I saw the news that he's going over to the Spurs, I thought that was a great move for the Spurs. Because as much as I don't like him, he is a very good point guard. And that with Wemby is going to be disgusting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That pick and roll is going to be incredible. Plus, he can also mentor Stephen
Yeah,
Castle, and that's going to just be
exactly.
a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, this was like the very first free agency / trade that I loved each and every single move, because for once you didn't have just a bunch of teammates, what do you call it, piling up with each other and making a super
New
team.
York.
Exactly.
New York.
Every single team made a move that made sense. Like DeJounte
Yeah.
to the Pelicans. That one was a little bit of a head scratcher.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how you're gonna get Murray and CJ to play together because they have such a similar game. And then you also have Brandon Ingram, who's also ball dominant,
Yep.
and then Zion as well,
Mhm.
if he's healthy the whole season. Like I don't know what's going on in New Orleans. I don't know what they're doing.
I want to see what they're going to do for a big man, because one of the signings I forgot to mention was that
Oh yeah.
Jonas Valanciunas went to Washington on a 3-year,
Yeah.
30 deal. We'll talk about that
Which
later
was
because I'm pissed about that one.
it was a head scratcher.
Yeah. But like Clay to Dallas, I feel like Dallas, that team's going to be incredible with a backcourt of Kyrie and Luca, now Clay, which I'm only assuming you're going to slide Luca to the 3 and Clay
Yeah.
and Kyrie in the backcourt. That's going to be an incredible team right there. DJ
Mhm.
going to the Clippers. I mean, I just like the move for him
D
because I've always been a DJ fan.
Oh,
Derek
yeah,
Jones
sorry,
Jr.,
I thought
not
you meant,
Augustine or DeAndre
no, I
Jordan.
thought that's what yeah, that's who I thought you meant.
Tobias Harris going to the Pistons. I mean, I think that was just a money chasing some cash there. Because he used to play for Detroit
Yeah,
a while back.
that was the team. I think the Bucks traded him to, um, Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting he was on the Bucks.
yeah,
Tobias Harris is just that player that you forget he's in the league until you hear his name. It's, oh wait, yeah, Tobias Harris still plays.
it's like he's like the fancy version of Luke Rittenauer.
Yeah.
Because
He's
Luke
like,
Rittenauer, remember that one year where Luke Rittenauer got traded to like 12 teams in the offseason? No one wanted
yeah,
to
he
keep
was,
him.
yeah.
Just bouncing
It was
around.
almost like he could not buy real estate anywhere because
No,
second he
no.
lands somewhere, he gets traded.
He was
I'm
racking up
gonna
the
say
miles.
Tobias Harris is the Mandela effect of the NBA. You ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Tobias Harris
And
is the
Bad Treasure
Mandela
Island.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like Tobias Harris has played for your team. You just don't know it. But getting back on topic here, yeah, every single move was good. We still are waiting for the DeMar DeRozan news for his free agency, but we will get to that later. So yeah, we've had a busy free agency, and it looks like it's going to keep getting busier. We've had the draft go by with the Bulls taking Booz at number 11th overall, and
Mhm.
I'm hit or miss with this pick. I love it, but I'm also disappointed. But I'll let you answer how you feel about Booz before I answer. Go ahead.
I thought it was great. Obviously, I said in previous episodes and everything that I haven't been paying attention to this draft because I heard it's a weaker one. But I did have uh Bruzelis on my, sorry if I'm butchering his name at all. I had him on my radar just because I did see earlier that he was like projected top 3 pick and then he got hurt. Fuck was that? So to see him slide all the way down to 11th and us getting him, I thought was a great pickup. He gives us size and he gives us versatility that we need. So yeah, I think he's gonna be like the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Like
Like the dark horse to
the
steal.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like he's gonna be the dark horse of the draft.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I totally did. The thing is, I love Matas. I love that he's from Hinsdale. I love that, he's excited to be a Bull. I love that the Bulls are in this stigma where we have to draft
Mhm.
our own players with Derek, with Io, Javon, we'll just say it. But, for
I mean,
me,
it's a
unfortunately,
good way for Jared to make sales. That's all it is. It's a good way for
yeah,
Jared to make sales.
exactly. It's another gimmick to make sales. But for
Yeah.
me, unfortunately, I fell victim to I heard that the Bulls were making a million moves during the draft. We're going to trade up. We're going to trade picks. Zach was going to go. This was going to happen. And I guess this was the very first year that I kind of fell victim to believing all the tabloids and hearing that.
Mhm.
I mean, me
Mhm.
personally, I would have liked to have drafted Donovan Clingan. I knew that was going to come as kind of a kind of a heavy mountain to push there because he was going to go very
Right.
high. And I really just didn't feel like we had assets to trade up in this draft. And that's saying a lot because, like you said, this draft was weak. So if we had no assets to trade up in this draft, you knew that this team needs a little bit of work. So fast forward to the 10th pick, I would have loved to see a Cody Williams on this team. I felt like he was like a Patrick Williams with a little bit more oomph. Um,
Yeah.
but Matas, I like Matas as a position. I think he fills the slot that we needed. Good 6'9", 6'10" power forward. He can shoot the outside ball. If he puts on a little bit of muscle, I think he can be similar to a Lauri Markkanen that we missed out on. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see him. But in other draft news, Dan, our beloved LeBron James finally gets to play with his son, Bronny James,
Yeah.
because the headline of the NBA draft this year, going 55th, going 55th overall to the Los Angeles
Mm.
Lakers was Bronny James. And immediately after this draft happened, Twitter just exploded with a sea of emotion. So I'm going to let you go ahead and give your kind of like your feelings on how is the Bronny trade or the Bronny draft going to affect the league?
It's not, because Bronny's gonna have little to no impact on this league. He's not his dad. Um, I personally feel like he only got drafted by the Lakers because of his dad. Um, and I just like about this being like headlines and everything like that. Like, why? Why? Like, did everyone like did Jordan's sons ever make it into the league?
No?
I No, that's what I thought because I feel like I would have remembered that. Um, but like if they did and Mike will have done this totally different from what LeBron did by like, forcing the Lakers' hands at this. I don't think Michael would do that. I think he would make his sons earn it the right way
Hmm.
and not, do the I just feel like this was a forced. I feel like this was more of a LeBron move than anything else. And like ESPN, of course, will just talk about that for 3 weeks, probably until the season starts.
Yeah.
Oh, how's Bronny's impact gonna change the game? It's not. It's not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Like I heard one guy at work say that Bronny is better than Thanasis, and I could not help but laugh.
That's a
Like,
stretch.
bro,
That is a
like
stretch.
I understand that Thanasis isn't like an all-star or anything like that, but Thanasis, I've seen Thanasis play, and he can still ball. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Bronny or anything like that, but he's
He
gonna
could hold
have
his
like
own.
Bronny's gonna have a handful of welcome to the league moments
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah.
his rookie year. Just because a lot of players are probably going to be like, we had to like fight and scratch our way to get into the league, and you're just here, doors wide open for you. Come on in whenever you want. The water's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you because here's the thing. I don't think Jordan's kids would have been, or I shouldn't say would have played, would have been in a similar situation because I don't think Jordan would have wanted to play with his kids because the style of play
Um,
that Jordan played was just so savage and vicious that I don't think he would have wanted to have his son succumb to that level of play, not just as an
right,
opponent, but even as a teammate. I think that Jordan was
right.
a tough teammate. And could you imagine Marcus or Jeffrey to go through any of that type of from their own father? It would just be
They,
negative publicity.
yeah, they would need years and years of therapy for what their dad did to them.
Yeah. But as far as Bronny's impact on the league, well, I'm going to say this is going to go either one of two ways. I think it's going to either go really good in the fact that you're going to bring a lot more attendance and a lot more viewers to the NBA games, to the Lakers games. Not that they needed it, but you're going to get more fan involvement. But I see this being negative because I see this being essentially a segue to make a bunch of players jump ship and go to the Lakers because, well, who wouldn't want to help LeBron James win a ring with his son? Not now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't want to help LeBron James win a ring with his son? Who wouldn't want to help the
Well,
NBA write that
so
next
far,
chapter?
so far, no one wants to help him. That's why he had to get his son.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
son's not gonna do anything. Like, I swear to God, if his son gets, like, more than 10 minutes a game, bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Fire AJ. Fire him right now. Get it
So
over with.
that's my prediction. What I think is going to happen. I think that Bronny James, because a lot of people forget, Bronny James earned his way into a D1 school. He earned his way into USC. He's a phenomenal player to get into. He earned his way into college. Point in case. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No,
if you
from
look at
that.
his stats and you look at his involvement in college, I think he averaged like 4 points a game and he
He
played
came off
some
the
like
bench.
20, yeah, for in some elevated minutes. So it's the kid has got a lot more growing up to do if he wants to hold his own in the NBA because I heard it the other day and I'll say it now. He's probably arguably the most hyped up second round pick ever because a lot of those second round picks where you can find some gems are
Mhm,
basically draft and stash.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Do
Um,
do you know who the greatest second round draft of all time is?
uh, was your boy John Lucas taken in the second round?
No, no. I'm talking about an NBA champion, a
Draymond Green?
NBA MVP. No, he's, I think he was
Oh,
second round. Let me
Jokic,
see.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I drafted during the Taco Bell commercial.
Why do you know? Was it the puppy monkey baby commercial?
It was Taco Bell, man.
Yeah, that was the
Puppy
puppy
Monkey
monkey.
Baby. What
You,
what are you talking about?
you don't
What
remember
is a
puppy monkey baby?
no? Is that an item that they had?
No, I'm pretty sure that
No.
was, or it
It's
might
a
have been Mountain
Puppy
Dew.
Monkey Bar.
Yeah, it was like
No,
it was a
it
monkey
was
in a diaper,
it
and
was
it
for I think it was for the quesarito or
K,
quesarito.
well, it'd be a K Cerrito.
It's cute.
Yeah, QU K Cerrito.
Whatever.
Spanish lessons with Sal Bass. Anyway, but yeah, I think he's going to have minimal impact on the Lakers winning games. That's for sure. I think he plays maybe a few games just for the NBA to say, hey, LeBron's played with his son. You know, maybe give
Mhm.
him a few opportunities to throw a lob up to LeBron James. And cool. You know
Yeah.
what, man? As a father myself, if I am a professional athlete and I get to play with my kid like that, that's incredible. I mean, that's taking your dream from the driveway to the main stage, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I just hope
I
that
just
it all goes well because poor Bronny is going to be
it's not.
scarred.
It's not going to
not.
go away. This is just this. I can't help but look at it. Just be like, this is just Laker Hollywood bullshit, and it's
More or
everything
less.
that I don't like about the NBA is the flash and the
Yeah,
pizzazz. Like,
the
get the fuck out of here
storybook.
with that. Let's play ball.
That's why I like, and here's the thing, and I've noticed this, when LeBron James retires, there's really like no more storybook fairy tale players left in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like when LeBron
That's not
got
true.
drafted, well, what I mean by that is when LeBron got drafted, he was already the chosen one. He was already the
He was
one to
already
take the
king.
torch from Mike. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
there's really no one in the league right now that they hyped up. Not to say to that level, but like no one's got like a storybook like LeBron. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Right.
from day
Well, yeah.
one, he was already gifted with with a golden spoon to take the league. Here
Right.
you go. You know, here's your
Right.
story
They gave him the keys before
to the
even
NBA.
while he was still in high school. They were like, here you go, you're the future of
Correct.
this whole thing.
Correct. Now, given I'll be the first person to say LeBron has earned it. LeBron has earned
Oh, for sure.
he has earned the right to be the face of this league. I will still never say he's the greatest of all time, but I also hate having that debate.
Right.
But
Right. Same.
if there was one person in the league that got to play with their kid, I'm kind of glad it was LeBron, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so moving on to our little old Chicago Bulls, Dan. Our wonderful,
Yeah, go. Peace.
wonderful Chicago Bulls. Our movement so far, you of course sent Alex to the Thunder for Giddy straight up. We've all commented on
Yes,
that.
sir.
We did sign Pat for that 590, that 5-year 90 mil. We did get Jalen Smith, former forward / center from the Indiana Pacers, at a 330.
Mhm.
We bid
Mhm.
farewell to Andre Drummond. He took his talents to Philadelphia and joined the Sixers.
Real quick, can I say something about that?
You sure can.
This front office is so goddamn stupid. So fucking stupid. Last season, they could have traded I almost said Draymond, Andre for, I think it was 2 second-round picks
Yeah.
to the team he's now signed at,
Yep.
and they said no.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Yep. This
What are you doing, AK?
is also the same front office that allegedly turned down 2 first-round picks for Alex Caruso and then traded them for Giddy.
That's whatever, because the Kings pick 13th in this draft.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm
Oh, no,
fine
I'm
with
talking about
the
when he was like the last year during the trade deadline when Golden State wanted him, and there was allegedly
Oh,
a team willing to offer 2 first rounds. Let me
okay. I thought you were talking about the Kings.
Bulls fans, NBA fans, let me just clear your mind about this. Whenever you hear that you're getting 2 picks, our immediate reaction is to think that it's 2 picks in the current draft. That's not always the case.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
not
because
always
for
the
all
case
we
at all.
know, the teams that offer in those 2 first round picks, they may not be next year, they may not be the year after. They may be 2
Right.
2027, 2028,
Right.
2030,
I was about to
5
say,
years in the
yeah.
future drafts. So to kind of say we screwed up by not taking that trade, well, you kind of got to read more into it because you're not always guaranteed a first round in that. You're not guaranteed. They don't print the entire article. So when Philly is saying we'll trade you 2 second-round picks, we already just said second-round picks are normally garbage. And 2, you don't know what year those are going in. For all intents and purposes, it could be 2 second-round picks in 2030, 2031. And is Dre really worth giving up for that? Well, no. I mean, it would have been nice to have the picks, but again, you're not going to use them.
Well, also like that far out. I mean, maybe the Warriors were. I mean, the dynasty is
Sixers?
already dead.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like the AC to Golden State trade.
Oh, yeah.
Like those, if those are future picks, like there's a good shot that the Warriors are really bad in the future because their dynasty is done.
Yep.
Like Steph might be retired, or Steph should be retired in 2030. I would hope.
Was that 5 years from now?
Yeah, Steph would be probably 30 in his mid 30s. He'd be on the decline
Well,
of
he's
his
already in
career
his
for sure.
mid-30s.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
think he was
I don't
drafted
know.
the same year as Derrick Rose. I'm pretty sure he was drafted the same year as Derrick Rose.
I have to research real quick.
Dan's gonna have to look that up. But yeah, I'm gonna say that a lot of these moves that happened, they're the only one I really like is the Jalen Smith one. I feel like we got him for cheap. I feel like he brought shooting, he brought spacing. He's every bit of the play style that Nikola Vucevic wants to be, but can't hit threes. Everybody knew they were going to bring back Pat. That's the thing, is everybody knew that the Chicago Bulls love Patrick Williams. And
2009.
2009, so the year after Derrick Rose. Okay.
Yeah.
But everybody knew that this organization was going to prioritize bringing back Patrick Williams just because of the fact that I still personally believe that because he was drafted so high up, the Bulls front office does not want to admit defeat with Patrick Williams. So they're going to invest every bit that they can into him.
I mean, Pat will be a solid role player at best, I think.
Well, if he's getting 590, I'm hoping he better start next year. He better have an impact, because
He
what
will.
we did come up with this. Remember when we said that, or at least I did. I don't know if you guys agreed with me, that kind of the reason why he was sluggish and took a back seat is because you had both DeMar and Zach on the floor.
Yeah.
And he kind of
Yeah.
didn't know his
Yeah.
role. We did say
Mhm.
when he came in with that secondary unit, he played leaps and bounds better than he did when he was on the
And
floor with it.
he played good with when DeMar and Zach were both hurt. He was I want to say we played through Vooch, but our second scoring option ended up being Pat.
Right. Right.
So I think that Pat will probably have a good year. I'm hoping for a breakout year finally for Pat. Like, Jesus Christ, what's it gonna take?
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if not this year, then this is the year that we see Patrick Williams for the player he's gonna be for the next 5 to 7 years.
That was a very, very, very good point, that this is going to be the year that you see Patrick Williams who he is. After this year, that's who he is. There's no, well, he could be this, he could be this. You got 5 years, 90 mil, you got your paycheck. Now you earn it. Because as we know, after everyone signs those big contracts, they do one of two things. They play up to their contract, but a lot of the times they fall victim to, well, I got paid. So, you know what I
Hey,
mean?
Larry Sanders ass shit.
Yeah. Which we will mention that
Oh.
later, because I wanted to bring up, there's been a lot of big contracts handed out. But real quick before we move on, what was your thoughts on Jalen Smith?
Jalen Smith. What about Jalen Smith?
That would be
What
the
about
guy
Jalen?
that would be the guy that we signed. What are your thoughts on him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Okay. Well, sorry.
It
So,
happens.
okay, I didn't, when I saw the news, I was just like, who is this guy? Because
Yeah.
same reaction. I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think it's a good move either. I think they overpaid for him because I saw that we had to dip into, or we used majority of our MLE
hmm
to sign him, and the Bulls being the Bulls, they never like to go over the luxury tax. I think we've only done it once in the last, what, like 10, 15 years or something like that, maybe 20. I don't know. I know we've only
Basically
gone
the
over.
Derek one. It was the Derek
Yeah,
years.
we've only gone over it once with Jerry.
Mhm.
Um, so it kind of tied our hands even more. That's what I didn't like about it, because now with this whole DeMar thing, doing the sign and trade, we have to find a third team because we can't. Well, we can, but Jerry just doesn't want to go over the luxury tax.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad move. It wasn't a good move. This front office, man, like
I'm
it
very,
makes
very glad.
all right. So the front office, when we first got him, the whole D-ball sack thing, I love this front office. But
Mhm.
as the ball kept rolling, the
No
taste in your
pun
mouth
intended.
got yeah, the
As the
taste in your
ball
mouth got
rolled
like
his ankle.
more. You get, well, the front office, the taste in your mouth got more and more sour as the years went
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole AC for Giddy straight up, I'm still like, I like that trade. I still don't like that we didn't get picks in it.
Mm,
The fact that we could have traded uh, Drummond last season for 2 second-round picks, and we didn't. Now he left for nothing to the team that was gonna give us those picks, and then
right. Right.
you sign Pat for what, 9 mil, 5 years,
Right.
and he hasn't really done much to support that. Like, I love Pat. I'm glad he's still on the team. I think we're overpaying for him. I think we're overpaying for Jalen Smith. So this front office, I feel like they're slowly learning from their past mistakes. And this Jalen Smith signing is probably going to bite them in the ass. Um, it reminds me of the Felicio signing.
Oh,
You
jeez.
know,
Okay. That
like
bad?
I think like Jalen Smith's better than Felicio,
Yeah.
but the money wise, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
business side of it is where I see the similarity.
Yeah. I I'm with you. Like I knew Jalen Smith just because last year I followed, or in a few years before that, I followed indie basketball, and guy's pretty good. I mean, he could hit the outside shot. His play style is very, very good. He could space the
Is it?
floor.
He's raw though, isn't he? He's like he
Yeah,
still
he's
has a lot of development to do.
yeah, I think he was a 2020 pick, a 2020 top 10 pick. And that's fine. You know, I mean, that's cool. We can, if we are the team to develop him, that's great. I would love to see an opportunity to see him out there with a newly acquired Adama Sanogo, because we did sign him to a contract.
I that's another reason why I thought it was a little head scratcher. Like, dude, we just re-signed Sonogo. Like, why are
Yeah.
we? And Sonogo was good. I like
Yeah.
Sonogo a lot.
I think it's in the end of the day, the Bulls saw all these deals going through. They just had to reach their hand up in the air and catch something, because otherwise we were going to have their heads. But we will get to that later, because we do have a fan question about our front office. So, but speaking of movement, we are still sitting here waiting for DeMar DeRozan to either select his new team or for us to sign and trade him to a new team. So, for those of you new to the rotation, I'm going to ask, have you been living under a rock? But basically,
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan has basically made it well known that he has played his last game in a Bulls jersey. Some even speculating that the Josh Giddey trade was the last straw. It sent him over the top, and now he has no interest of joining us again. So, my question to you, Dan, is what have you seen as far as speculations and scenarios, as well as who would you like to see acquire DeMar DeRozan? And ultimately, where do you think he's going to go? Go ahead.
I think he's gonna go to the Kings. As you just said, there's rumors, and like, by the way, by the time we get done recording this,
He may
he
even
might
be
be gone.
gone.
He might be gone. He might be gone while we're recording this. But
Yeah.
there's speculation. It's from Woj, so it's pretty goddamn credible. That we're in negotiations right now with the Sacramento Kings to trade DeMar, but we're looking for the third team because we don't want to go over the luxury tax. So the Bulls being the Bulls, I think that we're going to trade him to Sacramento for Kevin Herter.
Hmm.
And I would hope that the third team throws in, like, can we get some picks? I just want some
Yeah.
picks.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
all. Like, just for a player and a pick, that's okay, because
Yep.
we're not winning anything this year. There's like, I heard that we plan on taking this year. I
Mm,
don't really hope that's the case, because I'm not a big fan of taking.
right.
But this is clearly a team, like, the front office has finally gotten one thing right, and they're blowing this roster up.
Yep.
Um, and we're just rebuilding, probably building around Kobe
Hmm.
and Pat. Probably what? God, I keep forgetting his name. Our rookie,
Who's zealous?
Bruce Ellis.
You call him
We're probably
Matas too.
Matasi. I can't remember. I think those are very two hard names for me to say. Murtas. I'm just gonna call him MB.
MB. There you go.
MB.
MB.
So yeah, I think we're also gonna try to. Well, I want to see it. I think that they're probably going to build around him too. And since they're high on Giddy,
Yeah.
they might be building around. I don't know. We'll see what their plan is as the
Yeah.
season goes along.
Yeah. I mean, here, my thing is, we've seen it all. We've seen DeMar connected to the Clippers. We've seen him connected to the Miami. We've seen him connected to the Lakers, and now we're seeing him connected to the Sacramento Kings. In my opinion, this trade is not going to happen unless we get a third team involved. And DeMar is faced with a decision. He could either sign a 1-year deal now and wait for the contract,
Right.
with the
Yeah.
tax to go
Well,
up next year, the what do you call it?
I
Salary
heard
cap
that
to
he
go up
might.
next year.
Yeah, I heard he might do that.
But that's also betting on himself, because again, next year he's going to be a year older, and he's not in his 20s. He's not in his he's in his mid 30s. So
He's 30. Yeah, he'll be 36 in like 3 years.
correct. So if DeMar DeRozan wants to go to a team like the Portland Trailblazers and sign a 1-year deal and ball out and hope to get that recognition, that interest, maybe the year after that. But if I'm DeMar DeRozan right now, and if I'm the Chicago Bulls, I'm looking for a sign and trade. I can get the salary I want, I can get to the team I want, and case in point, we won't have any. It's done deal. So what I would like to see is, if he goes to the Kings, he's not going to win a championship. I want to
No.
see DeMar DeRozan win a championship. So if he is going to the Kings, more power to him. But I would like to see that third team be the team that we get our assets from, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of anybody on the Kings that I would take.
I mean, I'm not crazy about. I like Herter, but I'm not crazy about Herter.
Right.
I was a Harrison Barnes fan, but now
20
I
years
just
ago.
yeah, like when he was on the Warriors, I liked him, and I thought it was a good pickup by the Kings when they traded for him. But now I'm just like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm a pass.
Yeah. I mean, a very good headline that I saw the other day, and this is moving back to like the direction, a very good tweet I saw the other day is, no team or no player will ever purposely lose basketball games. So I know that
That's a
it,
lie.
I know that I
Trust the process, Sixers.
okay, yeah. Well, I mean that they well
They had three number one picks. Only one of them is there, and he
yeah,
still hasn't won shit.
yeah, it's very true. He'll win this year, dude. We forgot to
No,
mention
he
Paul
won't.
George goes to the Clippers.
There's
Probably one of
just
the
one
biggest
more
free
player
agent
to get
signings.
on the second round.
Probably the biggest free agency signing in Paul George going to the Clippers, and we did not even mention it. Okay.
Yeah, because fuck him.
Carrying on from the last episode. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I do think that we will, like you said, we will find out soon enough. I am really hoping that it comes in the form of a sign and trade. At this point,
I
whoever
think
we
it will.
trade from, you think it will? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's better than just having him walk straight up. I mean, a Kevin Herter for a DeMar DeRozan trade when you have options is not ideal. But if it's, hey, you either get him or you get nothing, well, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So,
Or even if that third team ends up getting DeMar
right.
and like, so I would hope that the Bulls front office, well, I have heard multiple times that the Bulls front office really loves DeMar, really wanted him to stay, but they're going through this youth movement. That's why
Yep.
DeMar doesn't.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that the Bulls will trade him to a winning team, a
Yep.
contending team, so he can actually get a ring. Because I don't think it would be smart for DeMar to bet on himself and do a 1-year deal.
No.
Because like I don't think any team's going to really sign you when you're that old.
Yeah. He wants a 4-year deal. We offered him a 3 and he wanted 4. And like you said, he's going to be old. He was 35. So a 4-year deal means that he is going to be done with that contract at 39. That's basically when many players retire. Most players are retired by then. So you're going to tell an organization, I want to make 40 mil a year, and then the last year is basically the year I retire. I mean, that's a stretch. But speaking of a stretch, Dan Gracie
Yes.
Zach LaVine is still a Chicago Bull through
He
free
will be.
agency.
He will
Through,
be
you think
this
he'll be?
entire offseason. I think he'll be I think okay, this is getting into the weeds of this Chicago Bulls season or upcoming season because it's gonna be rough. He's gonna be I don't think they're gonna find a trade for him in the offseason. I really hope they do,
Mhm.
because there's been reports of Zach losing trust in the front office, the staffing, pretty much the entire organization of the Chicago Bulls. And as much shit as that I have talked about Zach in the past, I
Mhm.
do not blame him at all for not trusting this organization.
Oh, sure.
So I'm hoping that they trade him before because during the season he's gonna be, disgruntled. He's not gonna want to be there.
Mm,
Um, and as a teammate, why would you want to play with him knowing that he has like when he has the door open, 1 foot out the door, and he's gonna want to take all the shots. He's gonna want to try to ball out and show that he can be part of a winning team and everything. But I don't think he can do it the right way.
right.
Like you can play and show that you want to be on a winning team and that you have this chip on your shoulder and that you're an all-star. But
Mhm.
Zach lately he's been professional throughout his entire career until last season. And that's when he
Yeah.
started getting a little whiny.
Yeah. Of course, what Dan is talking about is there was there was all signs pointing to Zach LaVine played his last game in Chicago Bulls uniform when he got injured. Now, given the offseason and given the free agency and what little moves we made, there was always like, oh, maybe we can keep Zach and have him play alongside a Josh Giddey and a Kobe White and kind of build around them. And now
Mhm.
we're shifting more towards well, we put the Zach trade on the back burner because the DeMar trade and the DeMar movement needs to happen right now. So it is a cluster of just mishmash of who do we trade for. This front office is got his hands full to say the least. But
Yes.
the thing that caught my eye and the thing that I'll just be blunt about it, the thing that pissed me off the most was we've gotten so low and the value for him is so non-existent that we are
Yep.
at the point that we are now going to attach a first round pick to whoever
I don't
wants to
believe
take.
that.
No,
I don't believe that report because that's just stupid. That's just like, yeah, like this front office is stupid, but like I don't think they're that dumb. Like you're a rebuilding team with a very young core. Why would you get rid
mm,
of any of your picks? You're gonna need your own picks.
yep.
You're gonna
Which
need them.
I'm only anticipating that it's like we mentioned before, it's a first round pick, but it's like the 2029 top 10
Right.
protected. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a lot of stipulations on it because if you are the Chicago Bulls and you are the NBA, you know that the Bulls are not going to be the bottom tier of picks next year. They're going to be in that lottery slash top 10 pick. So you would
Yeah,
be
we're gonna be a
chomping
top
at the
10.
bit. If you're an NBA team and you recognize a team, I'll just say it, that is going through a rebuild, if they say, hey, we'll give you a two-time all-star, an elite score, and a first-round pick, I'm assuming that phone's going to be ringing off the hook. But for that to be the case and there to be no movement, you just know that the pick that they're offering has got to be heavily stipulated on. So,
Mhm, mhm.
um, would you? Okay, here's the thing. Honest opinion. If Zach LaVine is content, he's happy, he buys into our system, and he's all right, you know what? No matter what, sorry about my because he never really officially requested a trade. But
Right.
if I'm here, I'm bleeding Chicago Bulls basketball. Would you welcome him back and be happy with keeping him?
Mm. I wouldn't keep him. I wouldn't keep him. I would continue the trade. I think I don't know. Just because Zach can't he can score, he could ball out before he went down and
Yeah,
everything. Um, but I just don't see I just feel like he would be wasting his talents if he stayed here.
sure.
Even
Yeah,
if even if even if if he wanted to come back, he bled the Chicago blue red. Um, I'd still yeah, just the regular color of blood.
yeah,
I don't I like if he was like a team player and everything, I would just be like, dude, we're trading you. You don't
yeah.
want to be here. You
Right.
don't. We're wasting your talent. And
Right.
the big elephant in the room, the main reason why they can't trade him is because of his contract.
Yep. Yep.
It's just one of those untradeable contracts. So we have to eat our words now.
Yep.
And he'll probably be traded by the deadline or next off season.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I got.
I'm with you. Like, here's the thing. I was as much trash talk as we have against Zach LaVine. It's always brotherly love. Of course, having a two-time All-Star on the team makes your team better. Of course,
Mhm.
having an elite scorer, a catch and shoot guy like Zach LaVine elevates your team to the next level. Okay. If he's invested in this team, if he wants to put on a Chicago Bulls jersey every day, every game for the next however long his contract is up and give us his all, of course, I will welcome that with open arms. No question about it. My only concern will come to the fact that we are not what Zach LaVine's ideal mold is right now. We are very much a team that's looking to go into a rebuild under the nose of the Chicago Bulls fans. Like, let's face it, guys. I said it before. We're going through a rebuild. That's it. There's no other way to put it. We're rebuilding. And I don't think that's in Zach LaVine's repertoire right now. I think he wants to go to a team where he's given a chance to win, and that's not us. But if he
No.
wants to put his championship hopes in the back burner and just wants to give himself some stats, make a few more all-star teams, well, welcome to Chicago. I mean, I'm hit or miss
Yeah.
because I know what we get for him is not going to be worth getting rid of him. You're not going to get a two-time all-star in return. You're not going to get an elite scorer in return. We have him already. The Bulls don't win trades. We're not going to win this trade. Um, so
And I also sorry.
no, you go.
I also just don't want this trade to be just a salary dump, you
Right,
know?
right.
Like I want something of value for Zach.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a salary dump. It's going to be a couple second rounders. It's going to be a very old expiring contract. Like before Harrison Barnes was thrown into the trade talk for DeMar DeRozan, that's who I would have anticipated us getting if we traded Zach
Yeah.
LaVine. It would be a
Yeah.
Harrison
There I mean,
Barnes,
I
Tobias
remember
Harris.
I remember during the season, I think it was around February, there
Mhm.
was a rumor of us trading Zach for Kevin Herter and Barnes.
Correct.
Salary matched up. I think there
Correct.
was a second round pick in that trade as well.
Yeah.
It's probably the 13th pick if we just threw in AC. But yeah, and I wouldn't have been mad at that trade. I mean, Herter isn't shooting the best right now. Um, and Barnes is a solid vet. And we would have gotten rid of Zach, so I wouldn't have been mad at that trade at all.
No,
But just to salary dump him though, like like
it's a
I
shame.
can't help I can't help but think of like this is our version of Gordon Hayward on what team was he on? That was it the
You thinking of Chandler
um
Parsons on the Houston Rockets or
well
Gordon
that too.
Hayward,
Gordon Hayward when he was on the was it
the
the
Hornets?
yeah, when he was on the Hornets.
Yeah.
He signed this huge contract and he didn't do shit. Like, granted, he
He
broke
was
his leg
injured,
completely
yeah.
off.
That was
Granted,
he was very much injured.
one of those freak accidents.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, but you could also say Chandler Parsons with Houston
Yep.
because he had an amazing season, signed this huge contract, and didn't do shit. I'm
Right.
not saying like I'm just saying from the numbers,
Right, right,
this
right,
is
right,
remind me of that kind of stuff. It's an
right.
untradeable contract, and now we have to eat
Correct.
shit
Mhm.
just to get off of it.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm imagining that immediately after the DeMar DeRozan issue gets settled, we will shift back to finding
Yeah,
Zach
that'll
a
be the
home.
main
So
focus.
we'll see. And again, like Dan said, at the rate that this free agency is moving, that may have happened by the time you're listening to this right now. But Dan, before we move on to our Ask-A-Horniac question, somebody asked us what your projected starting lineup would be given this roster right now, and that's anticipating that Zach LaVine and DeMar
Oh,
DeRozan is not here next year. So, what would be your
oh.
starting lineup right now? Just that
My
evil,
start. Oh,
sinister look. Oh,
oh. My starting lineup would be So I want Giddy at the 1.
Okay.
Put assuming Zach's not on this team, I would slide Kobe over to the 2, put Pat at 3. I do not have an answer for the 4, but
Okay.
obviously Vooch at the 5.
Okay.
I don't think Jalen Smith should be starting yet.
No, yeah, no.
Maybe our rookie,
You could say Matas.
Matas. Okay,
Matas.
I just forget his name. Yeah, maybe we can plug in our rookie Matas at the 4 and just let him go. Because if we're a rebuilding team and we're not trying to make the playoffs, why not give
Why
him the
not?
experience?
Right. So I'll give you not only a starting lineup, I'll give you rotation too. So,
Oh,
oh yeah, we're going deep. I'm gonna say the guards, they're gonna be interchangeable. I think that Kobe is been giving the keys to the point guard position. I don't think that changes.
whoa. Time out real quick.
Yeah.
What is gonna happen with Lonzo?
Dude, he's gonna get bought out. He's gonna
You
get
think
bought
it's just
out,
gonna be a straight buyout?
or he's gonna be a bench player. I mean, that's. I don't think he's gonna play for us.
I don't think so either. I mean, I would be very surprised. But yeah, I think I'm very curious if we end up trading him, who would take him on? Like
Somebody
maybe
who
Portland,
I don't know, somebody who really
maybe
needs money, or somebody who really needs to
maybe
get rid of
I
some money.
I bet you it would be Charlotte.
It could be, yeah, to play with his brother. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
That would be actually, yeah, I would do that. There's some players on Charlotte I wouldn't mind getting. So we'll see. I mean, that's a very good
Um,
scenario. But I would say Kobe's been given the keys to the point guard position. I don't think they're taking it away. But I do see him and Giddey running a combo point guard similar to what they do in Dallas, to where
right.
it doesn't matter who takes the
With,
ball up the court. It doesn't matter. It's basically a 1-2 punch with point guards.
like sometimes it's Luca, sometimes it's Kyrie, sometimes it's gonna be Giddy. Gotcha.
Correct. Now, if I know Billy Donovan the way I know Billy Donovan the last few years that he's been on,
Thick
I
idiot.
I don't see him starting rookies. So I think that he's going to have Giddy, Giddy, Kobe, Io at the 3, Torrey Craig at the 4.
You think Io
And
at the 3?
he played him last
What?
year at the 3.
Yeah, I
So
forget that Billy loves his guards.
Billy loves his guard. Io at the I'm sorry, not Torrey Craig at the 4. Patrick Williams at the 4. Vooch at the center. First one off the bench is going to be Torrey Craig. Then you're going to see Dalen Terry, the Jalen Smith, and then you see Buzelis. Matas for you, Dan.
Matas, Bruzelis.
Because I
I'm gonna say
don't.
it all day.
You saw what he did with Dalen Terry. You saw what he did with Julian Phillips and Sanogo. Billy does not play his rookies. And let's just face it, 11th overall pick is not high enough to where it would entice Billy to play his rookies. Now, would you play your rookie because we have nothing else to lose? Absolutely. I don't see why he doesn't play Buzelis, because this is basically an opportunity to say, hey, Rook, this could be the you, Patrick, and Kobe show. And
Right.
ideally, my ideal starting 5 would be Vooch at center, Buzelis at power forward, Pat at small forward, and then your Giddy and your Kobe 1-2 punch. That would be ideally what I'd like to see, but it's not going to happen. But maybe in time. But this year, it's not going to happen. If it does, I'll be very, very surprised. And again, that's just given that we don't know what we're getting from either the DeMar trade or the Zach trade. That's anticipating that DeMar goes freely and we don't get anybody, and Zach, doesn't.
It's also assuming that Zach does get traded.
Correct. So those are what I'd have to say. Dan Gracie, we have an Ask-A-Horniac question submitted to us. And the other, I picked it again because I love the man's questions. I love the man's work ethic. By Q from Let's Talk Bulls podcast. Again, Q proving himself that he does more work around here than we do. So
that is a fact. Q, you are the Horns Over Hoops podcast.
I'm telling you, Q, hit us up. We can merge. We can be like Let's Talk Horns. Let's Talk Horns. But it's got a good ring to it.
Let's talk Horns.
Let's Talk Horns. But anyway, Q asked, have we seen enough moves this offseason so far to say that AK has earned a bit more trust back from us? So have we seen enough movement?
Okay.
Have we seen enough movement to where we can say, hey, AK is trying, let's trust him. Maybe it's not him,
Hmm. Uh, I don't know about the trust. It's clear to me that the front office is hearing the fans and listening to the fans. About the trust part, though, you're going to need to do more than just start a rebuild to regain the trust of the hardcore Bulls community. Um, so yeah, it's like 50-50.
It's a good way to put it. I'm with you. I think that actions speak more than words, and this is the same front
Yeah,
office that up until the Alex Caruso trade, we had not made a trade player for player in over 3 years,
we
given we
haven't made
were
a trade of anything, right?
right. Well,
Not
we
even
did
player
like
for player.
we did like we acquired Julian Phillips and Sonogo picks. We
Oh,
acquired
that
picks. Yeah. But we didn't like trade at the trade deadline.
right. We haven't done that.
Given our struggling franchise uh, for to win, I mean, we were a play-in team the last 2 years. It's looking like next season we're going to be struggling to be a play-in team if we even make the play-in, because we could very well be a 10 and below in the Eastern Conference team. I will say I will give them that their names are making the headlines. They are trading for Giddey. They are, shopping DeMar DeRozan instead of letting him walk. I mean, but again, these are all just things that your GM should be doing nevertheless.
Yeah, they should be doing this regardless of the situation.
And in my honest opinion, and Bulls fans, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but
You're wrong.
this rebuild, this
Sorry.
rebuild is a last ditch effort to keep their jobs. That's all it is. And again, they haven't said it's a rebuild, but you really haven't seen any big names connected to the Bulls. You really haven't. Yeah, you're Paul George. He was off the table day one. I really don't even think he was ever a real obtainable figure.
No, he wasn't.
So if you ask me if he's done enough to earn some trust, I will say maybe not. But I'm also thinking that perhaps it's not all them. I mean, as we know, we have a very cheap owner. We have a very flawed organization because there is players that do not want to play in Chicago. There is teams that have played in, or there's players that have played in Chicago and have had nothing but negative things to say about Chicago. I will say this for any of those people who are wondering exactly what I'm talking about, watch the video with Michael Carter Williams when he was talking about the scuffle between Jimmy Butler
Jimmy
and Billy
and
Donovan. Correct.
was it I thought it was Hoiberg.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fred Hoiberg.
Hoiberg.
Sorry. Fred Hoiberg. Go from there and then basically watch and go reread on why Jimmy Butler really left the team. Because it wasn't because he didn't want to be here 100%. It was because the Bulls organization invested in Hoiberg and Jimmy gave him a decision. You either play for me, or I mean, you either keep me
It
or you
was,
get rid of him,
it was
or vice
you said
versa.
you said Billy again. It's Fred.
I'm sorry, Fred. Sorry, Fred, Billy. They're the same person. They're the same freaking person. They look the
No,
same.
they're not.
They look the same.
No.
We're gonna put a picture of Fred Hoiberg and Billy Donovan next to each other and see what. But
Is that going to be
anyway,
our poll?
is that going to be our poll? No, I do have a poll for you later though. But yeah, more of the story is the Bulls organization has a history for not just mistreating players, but favoring executives and operation people over the players itself. And if you really truly want to get players to play here, big name players, and you want to win championships, I don't think you can have that. I think you got to be invested in your staff, but you also have to give the credit to the players and treat the players a little bit better. Get them a coach they want to play for, not just the coach that you think will work best.
Right.
That's
Right.
and as much grief as we give the Lakers, that's what they did. Hey, who do you want to play for? We can get, well, I want to play for JJ Redick. They went out and got
Oh,
JJ Redick.
that was one man wanted to play for JJ Redick.
I know,
One
but
man.
still, like that's the type of behavior that wins you trust of your players. Because if LeBron James wants to
Mhm.
play for you, other players want to come here and play with LeBron James. I'll give you a scenario like if PG comes to Chicago, he may not be attracting big names, but PG would have attracted some names. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kobe White,
Yeah.
he's not attracting any names. Josh Giddey, he's not attracting many names. So you need players trust to come here.
Sorry, there was a
Yeah,
joke
what do
in
you got?
there, but
I know you had some
I want to
16-year-old
say,
joke there.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not gonna say it though. It's okay.
So anyway, Q, thank you for your question. Q, keep sending us those questions. You have like great questions.
Yes, sir.
But Dan,
Yeah.
it's that time. It's that sad time where we got to say goodbye. Dan, what do you got for everybody before we cut out here?
Not much. Not much. Looking forward to summer league. Yeah, looking forward to the Olympics. USA basketball is just around the corner, I'm pretty sure. FIBA started. I need to check out some of the FIBA games. Are you muted?
Olympics.
No, is that part of like
Yeah,
the
FIBA is something
Australian?
different.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about
Mm.
both.
Did FIBA start?
I'm
I thought
looking.
FIBA was every 2 years.
I'm pretty sure no, because isn't Giddey playing right now for Australia? Isn't that FIBA?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's just, I don't know. Maybe it's exhibition games for the Olympics.
It might be. It might
Yeah.
be. But yeah, I love watching international players play and everything.
Mm.
And I always notice. Do you notice when during the Olympics, like you'll see an average player in the NBA, but as soon as they put on their country's jersey, they
Yep.
turn into a like
A monster?
ungodly player. Yeah.
Like your Patrick Mills, like your
Yeah.
Dellavedova.
Yeah. Delhi was disgusting for Australia a couple
Although
of years ago.
you'd have Scott argue that Dellavedova was just a phenomenal player overall.
Yeah.
He
and
actually bought his
like
shoes.
the Cavs don't use him right.
Also, speaking of Scott and foreigners, we don't give enough credit to the fact that Scott Berman looks like Enos Cantor. I feel like we have not
100%.
mentioned that enough.
They're doppelgangers. Like if you hold up a picture of Enos and you hold up a picture of Scott,
It's the same player.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
So
you're not wrong.
yeah,
You're not wrong.
I'll post it on Twitter later. The fact to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know who Enos Freedom is,
Oh yeah, I forgot that you changed.
Scott looks exactly like him. Yeah, well, he changed his name, became like a wanted for terrorism. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know about activist. He's a
yeah.
terrorist.
I don't know about. I'm going to speak lightly of Enos Cantor because I don't really know his post NBA career that well.
Yeah, Scott Berman, on the other hand, not a terrorist and is just an incredible human being.
He's a terrorizer to his fucking wife and dog.
Yeah.
Tell you what.
But anyway, from all of us here at the Horns Over Hoops Studios, we thank you for tuning in again. Go to our YouTube page, watch our shorts, give us some love. We have TikTok too, so go over there, like us, follow us on Twitter. We're always posting some great stuff there. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, hit us up. We'll put you on. We love guests. Guests are incredible. Guests are fun.
Yeah.
We have summer league starting up soon. Go ahead and cheer for the Bulls. I believe our first game is July 13th. I'm not sure against who, but you're going to see Dan's boy Matas Buzelis ball out in the summer league. Buy our merch, and and hopefully by the next episode we're talking about where DeMar DeRozan ended up. But from everyone here, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to see red and go Bulls. Good night, everybody.
Go Bulls.